Hey, Brian here from quantlabs.net. There's one big set of topics here in this one event I'll be holding, talking about Simulink, which is part of Matlab. It's its own world of environment, ecosystem within the platform of Matlab in itself. It's got a huge potential for trading strategy development. So I want to dedicate a whole night around it. I've already done various webinars on it. I've shown different steps. I'm going to actually go through that right now. But I want to cover more than that. And the whole point of this workshop, with all the other ones I'm holding over the next, I don't know, 6 weeks, or maybe 2 months, is for everybody that joins my quantlabs.net premium membership, go through all these topics, understand it, play with what's out there as pertaining to these topics, and then that whole night you come back 48 hours before the event, have your questions, I'll compile answers, and we'll go through each one by one that night, and however long it takes, it takes. So I'm hoping people take advantage of it, because as I keep saying, I'm only doing this once, and this is the only opportunity we'll have for this. I got to move on to higher priority areas of my business over the coming months, which is basically using all these tools that I'm showcasing throughout this workshop series and actually implementing my own strategies as I learn stuff, and I learn new techniques, other stuff from people like Ernie Chan, London Quant, and they're going to be generating all this code and apply it for my own needs. So let's talk about Simulink now. Alright, as a lot of people know, I'm using IQFeed as my primary data feed for market data, real-time data. I show how to use Simulink and then use that model. So how basically Simulink works, it's like basically a visual tool where you have different blocks that do different things, and you visually join them together to visually build an automated trading system. In a way, you could do that. At the front end of it, you need input, and that input is some kind of data, so we call it inflow. And the end of it, you're going to have your outflow, so it's going to be some kind of result. So in most cases, it's going to be some kind of trading decision or trading signal. So that's how we're going to do this, and when you see me or hear me talk about inflow and outflow, that's what I'm referring to. Alright, so again, this will be basically a very simple Simulink model showing IQFeed as the inflow data and trying to connect into the TWS library, which is obviously part of interactive brokers. So we can also do that through a queuing system. I mentioned that already in a past video. I showcase how to use this third-party software, generate IQFeed tick data, which is Forex data, and then you can calculate the last price and then feed that into your Simulink, and using this thing called the from file block. Alright. So let's say, let me just see, we got all this other stuff here. Also, Simulink has something called state flow. So state flow is another way where you can have different states and visually have each representation of that state do something. It can be based on a condition. You can also have it point and go somewhere and have a different result. You can also put in MATLAB scripts or functions, custom functions, as part of the state flow. And then that takes away a lot of the complication of needing to hand code stuff, because now you can do it visually with this tool called Stateflow. So in this case, there's a listing of the topics that I have, and then using both the Stateflow and Simulink course topics, do your strategy development. And then for a lot of people that don't know this, the very powerful thing about Simulink is you can generate C++ code for it, and there's different compiler targets. I recommend using one that's very tight. And the other thing is, using that same visual model representation, not only can you generate C++ or C code, you can also generate FPGA code, your VHDL or your HDL code for FPGA, obviously, which can be used for ultra lowest latency, which means high frequency trading. Okay, so this is a very good path to go down if that is what you want. But a forewarning or a caveat, you better have a lot of cash behind you, because these are not cheap options. These are not cheap at all. Okay, you're looking at large costs of probably, just for the FPGA boards for production level 1, probably 5 to 10 grand just for the board. Then you have the simulation software, you're looking at 20 grand for that. And then you have other costs that involve actual Simulink as well as the HDL coder, blah, 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 blah. You're running up to about $50,000 usually. But again, that's for multi 7-digit, 8-digit businesses or operations to really make it worthwhile. Alright, so again, we use C# or .NET for real-time IQ feed, queuing, and then feeding with Simulink and feeding into somehow into the interactive brokers, TWS. I've got lots of videos, I showcase that already, but you know, if there's need, we can demo that and I can prepare for that night. Now, also as part of the membership, now all these topics are already currently included in right now in the membership. They're there, they exist, and you can go through them right now to understand them. But this workshop is just enabling you to actually have a Q&A session around all this stuff. And as you can see, it's a lot. Continuing along, as I said, I provide first sample of C++ code from a MathWorks webinar series in Simulink, so you can see what the code looks like. I think it's actually better. I have a better solution than what I provide here. There's also out there one that shows how to use MetaTrader with Simulink. Very powerful. Again, there's various YouTube videos that I've got on the Quant Labs channel on YouTube, so you can seek those out. Now, of course, you'll hear TradeLink. Originally, I was going to use TradeLink as my trading platform because of all this other stuff that they're doing with this Glean and making it really commercial and pretty well expensive. That's why we write our own software now. But I have tried to demo it with a TradeLink DLL with a Simulink generated C++ code. I particularly probably won't even want to entertain that because there's reasons why I got out of TradeLink, and one of them is the Glean. So here I've got files I provide where I create an unmanaged DLL in my Visual Studio using a C++ managed DLL. This is the tricky part. I'm not going to get into the technicals of it, but basically there's 2 layers that you need, or 2 wrappers. From the coder, generated code from Simulink is unmanaged, and then you have to write wrappers around that to make it managed. So there's different ways to go around. This is one example. Like I said, I've already covered that. And again, that is where you are generating code, which is really a static library to be able to do it properly. And then we have all the demo models that I've got. And again, I keep providing source code and files for all this stuff. Okay, I've got a video walkthrough of how I do it to generate a Matlab Simulink model with Simulink included and generating C++ from that. As I said, I figured out how to pre-populate Excel data into a Simulink. Again, this is with Excel, that's the inflow I've referred to. There's a lot of secrets that I have posted for this whole process. And again, that's something we can talk about as well. We already talked about this. I've got some notes, personal notes I posted for my members. I've got solution files for both Visual Studio and Visual C++, demo of how to use C#, p-invoke calls to call those Simulink code-generated C++ models in those C++ DLLs. Now also within the Simulink as well, there's different techniques to be able to share data across a Simulink model, and there's different ways using these bus data types. So I show examples there and that's within the state flow itself. Oh boy, you can see we're not even, just over halfway now. Yeah, so as I said, there's other examples of where you can generate C as well, so I'm going to show examples of that. You can do debugging sessions within your Simulink and your state flow chart. I show videos of that. I try to do the same thing with an RSI model. And now what I've done, as I said, I have done a webinar on this, so these are the 3 steps involved to get you there, from the Simulink itself into a code-generated C file. So I show you all those steps. And then of course there's a checklist to go through this whole workflow. There's all the different topics. Again, the key here is not only I'm only focusing on C++ code generation, but using the FPGA or HDL option, that's another world, just alone to get you to actually create proper HDL code. There's further expenses on that. I haven't looked into the latest versions of what MATLAB or MathWorks offers or Simulink offers, but there may be updates since I last looked at it. But either at the end of the day, you can use this set, the HDL toolbox, or HDL coder toolbox, to be able to create your FPGA code from Simulink. That's a very, I keep saying it's a very powerful feature I've not seen anywhere else. So we've got a primitive model, Simulink model, with, as I said, inflow market data, executing orders from code-generated C. And then we do the same thing here in .NET with the CLR support, common library runtime, I think it is. I can't remember. Anyways, that's pretty well it for Simulink. Again, I'll put up the date on it, and we'll go from there. And this is going to be probably the most extensive workshop of them all, the 5 or 6 I'll be doing. So hopefully get an understanding of what I'll be presenting, or will be offering for people to question on these topics. Have a good night or day later.